we've reached the top 3, my friends. And if you're a fan of RVB, you've probably guessed which remaining freelancer is in which spot by now. Numbers 1 and 2 were pretty much set in stone from the beginning, but I had a hard time deciding on the placement for numbers 3, 4, and 5. What I liked about these 3 were their levels of coolness, I guess. You know, they each have awesome backstories, interesting arcs, unique characterizations, and were overall well-written characters. My issues with Tex and Maine, however, was that I wanted a bit more. Specifically, I wanted to see more of their vulnerabilities. Tex's character was so secretive, she literally didn't allow us to learn more about her. And Maine, while an amazing villain, was ultimately just a brute. Even before Sigma, he didn't really possess a lot of humanity, and we never got to see him just shoot the shit with his teammates. So this brings us to my number 3. Although this freelancer didn't have many on-screen appearances throughout the series, the character was so strong, so relatable and significant, myself and other fans instantly fell in love with them. I know I go on and on about how I wanted to see more of the freelancers, but for this character, I feel satisfied for what I got. The most open, idealistic, and charismatic of the freelancers, number 3 is York. I'd go ahead and say that York is the most morally troubled of the freelancers. Although he's a mercenary, he has his limits and usually questions the morality of his actions, but doesn't position himself on a moral high ground. He knows what he's doing isn't always right, but hopes that his contributions will lead to a better future. York's also the kind of guy who plays by the rules but is willing to break them when necessary, especially when they go against his morals. One good example is in the Season 9 episode Introductions, where York abandons his own partners, Maine and Wyoming, to help new recruit Tex, after they wrongfully fire live rounds at her in a training match. Despite the 3 getting their asses kicked by a rookie, York continues to fight fair and remains a relatively good sport about it. It's shown in the Out of Mind miniseries, however, that York did hold a grudge against Tex afterwards, but during their campaign at Project Freelancer, he doesn't really show that grudge. He may not like her or even trust her, but he always remained professional around her, and that's one of his positives, his professionalism and sense of respect. He's never defiant towards Project Freelancer's higher-ups. He follows orders, gets results, and apologizes for when he screws up. Cool, confident, and competent. For the most part. York truly is an ideal soldier, but unlike North and Maine, he isn't a golden boy, nor does he just follow orders without question. Like I said before, he always tries to determine whether or not his actions are ultimately the right thing, being one of the first of the freelancers to question the project's ethics. This tells us his focus lies more on doing good, rather than pleasing the director, or even being the best. And that's what made him one of the few mentally strong of the freelancers. He seems to get more satisfaction from being with his teammates than being the most skilled soldier. Being the best isn't what he's striving for. Look at this scene in Season 9. North tells York that the leaderboard changed, but York doesn't even look at it. The comment he makes afterward implies that he doesn't even care.
The list changed again.
Yep, lots of things changing these days. I think we got more change on the way.
As the most social of the freelancers, York clearly cares more about his friends than his rank on a fucking list. It's even revealed in Season 15 that he was drinking buddies with Illinois, a freelancer who, supposedly, didn't even crack the top tier. I would say that ultimately, York joined Project Freelancer to help save humanity, and in the end, be able to live a fulfilling and loving life. York's ability to build relationships seems to be his greatest strength. He manages to bring out the humanity of his cold and logical AI Delta. He proved to Tex that some people can be trusted, and he eventually showed Carolina that there's more to life than being a soldier. He did all of this by being himself and trying to understand the inner workings of others. Sadly, this wasn't enough to prevent his ultimate demise. He loses just about everything he cares about after he learns the truth about the director and the project. He loses his friends, his job, and his girl. By the time of Out of Mind, York grows more distrustful and pessimistic. He still has that likable charm, but it's greatly diminished. Based on his conditions in the miniseries, I can assume that York probably became homeless, forced to commit petty theft just to keep himself afloat. York truly is a tragic character, arguably the most tragic of all the freelancers. Carolina and Wash have been through a lot, but they're still alive and managed to find a family. Maine suffered heavy mental and physical damage, but he continued to do evil and was past the point of redemption. North's only shortcoming was South. Other than that, he didn't really battle any internal struggle. South was abrasive from the start, and most of her problems were a result of her own actions. She was far past the point of redemption. CT, while insecure about her place in the project, accomplished something significant and managed to find love. Even Tex, while destined to fail, found a family amongst the Reds and Blues. York was a good man who always strived to be better, but had nothing to show for it in the end. He was the most popular guy at Project Freelancer. Strong bonds with his friends, respected amongst his peers, a great girl by his side, exceptional skill set, and a clear picture of what he wanted for his future. By the time of Out of Mind, York loses contact with his friends. Project Freelancer sees him as a traitor. He never got to see the woman he loved again. His exceptional skills were no longer needed, and he was left to wander the world directionless, desperate to figure out if the girl he loved could possibly still be alive. It was the only thing he was holding on to. Although things didn't turn out very well for York in the end, he's still a character that's worth looking up to. All the way until his death, York stayed true to himself. He always tried to be the best person he could be, and died knowing that he fought to do the right thing. I think that's why so many fans just like him so much. He's truly a character people want to be around, or want to be themselves. He's interesting, confident, charming, laid back, funny, and understanding. But he's not perfect, of course. He's naive, a little impatient, and needs to know when not to put his foot in his mouth from time to time. But like I said before, York's always trying to better himself, questioning his actions and what goes on around him. Kudos to Sean Duggan for bringing so much life into this character. He manages to make York a badass and a guy you want to have a couple of drinks with. When you think about it, York doesn't seem like the typical hyper-aggressive, highly competitive freelancer. Ironically, I feel that makes him the ideal person to be a great soldier. A lot of people compare York to Han Solo, but I see a bit of Luke Skywalker in him too. His charming and cocky personality fits that of Han Solo, but his morals and willingness to do good suits that of Luke Skywalker. So, I would say he's a mixture of both characters. Unfortunately, in the end, York's noble actions and idealistic personality didn't get him what he wanted. The director was ultimately right when he said luck will only take one so far. In York's case, nice guys truly do finish last.
I would have told her that I understand why she did what she did. I just wish she hadn't. I wish she could have learned to let things go. I guess I should too.
So that's my take on number 3. What do you guys think of Agent York? Share your thoughts in the comments below. 8 down and 2 to go. If you like this video, check out my takes on the other freelancers. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that good shit. As always, thanks for watching. Have a good one.